Hi, welcome to Bad Music Taste and Other Ways to Ruin Your Life. My name is Dominic.
And my name is Sam.
For Season 2, we will be instituting Record of the Week rather than Fun Facts. First one we have here is 4 a.m. Friday by Avail. This album was first released in 1996 on Lookout Records and was re-released in 2006 on Jade Tree Records. The copy I have here is the first pressing on clear vinyl, and my dad and I have looked on Discogs, but never been able to find another on clear, so if anybody knows the backstory or just has another clear vinyl, please reach out to us. I think our email is on our Instagram page. So, yeah. But moving on from that, we have a very special guest today.
That's right, Dominic. Today we're interviewing the amazing bassist Joe Lally of Fugazi, Coriky, and the Messthetics. We thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Of course.
So, we're just going to get right into it. I've always seen the question under a lot of Facebook posts, but it's never been answered. So what is the meaning behind the band name Coriky?
Well, we like to leave meaning of the band and what the band name means to people up to the people. So we really tried to find a name that didn't have an immediate association with it. The word Coriky came to us, and we didn't know how to spell it, and we only knew how the people who told us about a dice game, how to play it. And even the rules of the dice game were a little bit shady. So over the years, and this was a long time ago, this was the late 80s when we began to tour in England. And we found out about this dice game, and someone taught us how to play it. But as I said, the origins of the game, I think someone had brought it back from a visit to Spain. But, you know, I probably don't remember even that very well. So I'm not sure how much I should go into all this. But it's like a liar's dice kind of a game. And yeah, we decided to spell it Coriky. Although I might have chosen a different way to spell it, but that's the name of the band, and I like it for that. Because people can fill in, you know, they can fill in the songs and all the things that we are after they've seen us and heard our music.
Yeah. So I know that you recently started teaching bass lessons over FaceTime calls, but do you believe it's still important for new musicians to learn music theory despite the invention of the internet and tablature?
You know, I think it's great if you can learn that stuff. I did not learn any of those things before I became a bass player, and actually pretty much all during Fugazi, which we are talking about 15 years of playing on what, eight albums or whatever that we recorded in the studio, and all those shows that we played. I really just didn't know what I was doing. All the songs, they took place between where the four dots on the neck are, you know, and I didn't know the notes that I was playing. But I figured out a way to play, and I was very serious about music. And you know, that's all that really matters. Over the years, I've met so many people, you know, who've developed unorthodox ways of playing or setting up their bass or the way they sound or, you know, approach the music or even or songwriting, and it's all legitimate. So, you know, it's just, it's there if you want to know, and I could have used some of those tools to communicate better with my bandmates. And I'm happy to be able to do that for people who want to do that, you know?
Yeah, I think it's kind of left up to the person, however they want to learn. Because I know people that take lessons and then people that just kind of look through the internet, which is a big source for music nowadays.
Which
Sure.
I myself play the bass, and I don't know any really music theory, but I'm able to like look at the fretboard and be like, oh, so here's the 9. I haven't used this note yet. I'll go to that, and it's really just like, what haven't I used? What have I used? It's just going back and forth from that, and I think that is a really fun way to really learn and play bass. But if you want to get serious about it, I guess really like learn music theory. So then I'm not really sure how to describe it, but yeah.
There,
I don't know. I don't know what I'm talking about.
there's so many different approaches because how much you take in as you begin to write songs. I mean, you could just write songs with people, and it's a whole other very interesting way to develop because more than likely you're going to hit upon something kind of new because it won't be the path that everyone has followed if they've learned,
Yeah.
formal, if they've learned formally by lessons. And then now with the internet, you can sort of come into music just by that particular aspect that you've looked up on the internet. So whatever it is you're finding, that's the little bit that you're learning about, and you're applying it to what you know and the songs that you are playing. So you're learning,
Yeah.
it's kind of like in your own way too. So that, I mean, I think it's all really cool because the main part of it is really just wanting to do something enough that you are going to find a way to do it. And that's kind of all that matters.
Yeah.
How you get there, it's just up to you. It's just, you're going to get there. That's the good part.
Yeah. It's like the passion behind the music. Is what I like. So Fugazi did something where they recorded over 800 of their shows on high-quality recording called the Fugazi Live Series. It was an extremely unique thing to do, but how did it come about?
I guess that the origin of that is really that we had a sound man, Joey Picuri, not from the very beginning of the band, although we did have a cassette of the very first show. People always, the sound person at a show might throw in a cassette and tape you. So we did have shows before Joey came along. It's just that when Joey started to work with us, he had a deck that he started bringing, and not only taping, but he would fill in the songs as we were playing them. He might miss some things because he was working, but boy, was that helpful. After years of doing that, we had a whole bunch of tapes that had usually a pretty good idea of the songs that we played that night in the order that we played them. And he might make some mistakes, but if you're going to go back and try to assess like the quality of the tape and stuff, you're pretty much going to go through all the songs and identify them anyway. But, that was a pretty major influence to start us, to have that much already accomplished. So it always kind of sat there for years. And I have to say, over the years, Joey, I don't know how many years he did sound, but it's a pretty long time. And then it spanned a number of different mediums,
Yeah.
It taped on, there was a little DAT recorder, little DAT tapes that were like that. And then there became like mini disc. They were on so many mediums that I don't know how Ian dealt with all that, but he got everything transferred, and he got a lot of it to a studio in New York, that gave us a good deal on transferring them to digital so they could be uploaded and make them sound good. And that was kind of an enormous part of the work. But I have to say that Ian himself did so much work. Just while he would be working at Discord, he would run upstairs and put tapes into the machine to be recorded onto a digital format to be saved. And just that alone is just kind of like really too much work to do. But that was a heroic thing on his part, and that made it happen. It just couldn't have been done without him being in the same place, almost every day, 5 days a week, for the better part of each year. He got so much of it done. So that's why there are so many shows up. And actually, he's still getting the remaining shows up there. So it's kind of crazy.
Yeah. I think it's a cool way to reflect, too, on, like, how you've grown through the years to, like, be able to look back.
Yeah, if you are in the band and you can stand to do that. It's quite a thing to subject yourself to.
Yeah, like we'll record these, and I can't listen to them back. Like I can't
Yeah.
listen to the sound of my own voice.
I hate listening to my voice.
It's a little bit like that, and it was like that kind of making the movie. As soon as we started going through all the videotape and all the footage of film we had for making the soundtrack movie, the instrument movie, it was too much. I mean, I was like, this is all really great, and I know I was there, but I don't need to look at this anymore. So that was really good for Guy. He's really into film, and he could work more closely with Jen Cohen on that. But they had to edit 10 and then 8 hours, and then closer and closer to 2 hours. That was just too much work. But yeah, it's hard.
So, I myself, being a bassist, I think some more of the the more intricate songs like "Waiting Room" are very fun to play and learn, but so are the slightly easier songs like maybe "Reason to Believe." So, my question is, when you're on the stage playing these songs, do you prefer the more intricate songs or the maybe slightly easier songs?
Oh, it's a song can be more simple to learn or more simple to show someone, and so the simplicity can be in that, but it doesn't necessarily make the song a less interesting song, to play. I like a very simple bass line that is integral to the song. So it can be very repetitive. There may not be another bass line in the song, but it doesn't mean that it doesn't hold my interest the whole time. I kind of like music like that, where the bass line is putting you in a trance.
Yeah.
So it really is, and Reason to Believe is my solo stuff, and then my solo stuff probably I don't know. Maybe sometimes it is more intricate, but I really tried to keep my solo stuff down to 2 to 3 parts. So usually that is less difficult than a Fugazi song. But I'm singing and playing all that stuff. So I was trying to make music that worked best for me. So
Yeah. So, speaking of between the different stages in music that you've been in, you went from playing loud punk rock type of genres with Fugazi to playing a softer rock and almost indie genre with Coriky and your solo projects. What in life had inspired the change?
going deaf, losing a lot of your hearing, it will help you look for another way to do the thing that you love to do. I don't want to stop doing it. So as soon as Fugazi was going to take a break, that band was really loud on stage. I stood right in front of an SVT cabinet, and I had a Marshall on either side of me with a drum set. I sat back there with the drums. It was just really loud on stage. And I did need some time to kind of get over that. If I was anywhere quiet during those years, of toward the last 5 years of the band, and then any time after the band had stopped playing live, if I was in a place that was really quiet, I would just sit and listen to my ears ring. They rang all the time, 24 hours a day at pretty loud, So that is pretty weird when that's happening to you, and you kind of want to do what you can to preserve your hearing, because if you love music, you're going to need it, and you just want to keep working at what's going to allow this to do what it needs to do for me for as long as it can. So the first thing was to just kind of slip into something I could deal with. And since I was going to sing, that was another aspect of it. If I was going to sing to it, I couldn't really sing. I was learning how to sing. I really didn't want to have to figure out how I was going to yell over all this music, how I was going to project over a full loud band. So my first goal, was to try and get everybody to just chill out, get the drummer to play quieter, because then I could really bring the overall volume down. And that, and I did pretty good with that. I'm still playing my solo music when I get to go out and play live music again.
Yeah.
But the guys I'm playing with now, Jerry Busher, who played with Fugazi, and Anthony Pirog, who plays in the Messthetics, they are starting to play things louder. So we'll see where that's going to go.
Yeah. I think that whole situation is really inspiring because it shows that, like, if you truly have a passion for something, you'll do anything to continue it. It's really like a mind over matter situation. So, yeah.
I agree. If you really want to do something, you just find whatever it takes to get you there, and you got to get it done.
Yeah, I remember I saw you guys in Baltimore whenever the last time Coriky played there was, and I had no idea of what to expect. I was like, I was walking in there. I was like, okay, well, like Ian was in Minor Threat, like a very loud hardcore punk band, and then there was Fugazi, which was a loud punk band. Then they've all done like quieter stuff, and I had no idea what to expect when walking into that venue. And it was an amazing experience to see like I'm not even sure, but to see that you guys could like go past punk rock, and it wasn't just this one genre of music that you guys could play. You could play a lot of it, like a jazzier type of music. It was awesome.
Well, I'm glad that you found, uh, sort of a new ground that we could break for Coriky, because I mean that's kind of what you want to do as a musician.
Yeah.
There's probably less thinking about what genres there are, for people. I mean, of course you refer to those things as you talk about what you're doing, but we are the type of musicians that try to as we're writing, we kind of lean away from something that sounds too typical to a particular genre, and it isn't so much as trying to avoid. It isn't any more avoiding something than trying to get somewhere new. It's just all of those things happening at the same time. You're trying to come up with something that challenges yourself, really, and so hopefully you hit upon something new. But I'm glad that you could see that in there and you enjoyed that.
Thank you. So I'm sure that you get this question a lot, and I hate to ask it, but you play in a band with Brendan Canty of Fugazi and Ian Mackay of Fugazi, but I haven't heard much of anyone from Fugazi working with Guy Picciotto. Do you guys all still talk to Guy? And is there any chance of a Fugazi reunion?
We all definitely stay in touch. We're either emailing or on the phone, and you pronounce his name Guy, and Guy is kind of the farthest away. He's in Brooklyn, and that's okay. It's not easy, and Picciotto is not an easy name to say.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Quite all right. People have said Ian McKay for years. They don't even say Mackay. So, it's easy to make those mistakes with names, but no big deal. But yeah, everyone stays in touch. And over the years, when we're all going to be in the same, we're really Washington, D.C., we haven't really done in other cities. But when we're all here together and someone has a place that it's easy to get together and play, we've played music together, and we enjoy being together. I think it's just, having families and having kids, and definitely me being in Rome for 8 years, and then Guy being in Brooklyn still. It certainly doesn't make it any easier. It's a hard thing to just try to keep up and actually allow ourselves to just hang out and play. And even when we play, we spend a lot of time just talking and laughing, and then we'll go out to dinner or something. And we do play, but I have to say, it's often not the most serious part of what we're doing. We just enjoy doing it. It's been quite a while now, and I do hope we get to do it again. But boy, nothing about life seems to be normal now, so I have no idea when anything's going to happen again.
Yeah, I think especially in the music industry, when you've been with people for so long and they've been such a huge part of your life, coming back together, it isn't always about the music after that. Like you said, at that point, it's just about seeing the people and catching up.
Yeah, totally. So Yeah, really, even seeing shows in DC, it is partially just that's your social, that's when you see people socially. So yeah, that is it. You take that one element out of my life, and I'm kind of back to like, okay, I don't see anybody. So
Yeah,
it is a time I'm hoping will pass. But as far as going to see music, I think we're waiting till next year at this point. It
I
is.
know. I'm really missing live music right now.
Yeah.
It's pretty tough.
Supposed to see a lot of great bands. Supposed to see the Circle Jerks in DC.
Oh wow.
You're supposed to see Goldfinger here. A lot of other bands. So yeah.
Yeah. I had a few on my plate too, and they all got canceled right around the same time. It was going to be like multiple concerts per week, and they're all just done.
Right, because that's the way it should be. It should be at least a
Yeah.
few every week.
Yeah, like this was supposed to be a great year. It's like so many great bands to see, and then everything happened, and
Exactly.
And it's a tough time. You really have got to get your creative thing going because you've got to make the best out of this situation because it's not an ideal situation. I probably would not be giving bass lessons other than this happening. It really it forced me to do it because I was money that I can earn working is me playing music live and traveling around with the Messthetics playing. Coriky was just going to get into it right as we shut down in March.
Yeah.
We were just going to start booking because we only book 2 weeks out. Most bands book way in advance, like
Yeah.
6 months. And Ian would only book things a few weeks out, and we weren't going too far to do the shows, but we were just about to start working on any weekends we could do, and we had not done that yet. So
Yeah.
we played in the basement for 3 years, did a couple of shows, and then waited another year pretty much before we did some more shows. And then, we were just going to get into it, and we were going to end up with a proper 7-day tour or something in July. And all that is just gone. And then the other work I do is I work in the box office of the Lincoln Theater that IMP from the 930 Club and the Anthem, Merriweather
Oh,
Post,
wow.
they book all those venues. And I, sell tickets to all those shows. That's kind of my job when I'm home 3 days a week. And
Yeah.
that is also gone now until next year, I think. So I'm kind of making what I can out of giving bass lessons.
I was supposed to see Brian Fallon at what I'm pretty sure is the Lincoln Theater. So yeah,
Mhm.
cool.
Absolutely.
Those are all the questions I have.
Those were the questions we had. But thank you so much for taking time to do this. That was a really great interview. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me. And how does this thing work? Do you guys like show this as a video thing, or do you just have a tape?
Yeah, we really say it's a podcast, but we still put like the video on YouTube.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Right. Okay. Gotcha.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Sure.
Thank you. Stay safe.
Stay
All
safe.
right. I'll see you in Baltimore sometime.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.
Good. Bye-bye.